Everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial. Didn't look it up. We're on like 372 or so. And let's take a peek at what shows up here. And so, across the board, pretty reasonable champions if we ignore that Swain is over here. I think it's ultra strange to see Swain ranked up at a 77 and see a Zed ranked up at 75, but to each their own as far as the ratings go. And with these, there's nothing new here, and I'm on my bonus trials for the week, and so I can't just sit around and wait 20 minutes to reroll. So we'll stick with what we're offered here. I'm just going to go to the site and draft the champion that we built around the least recently. And so if you're not familiar, we're just going to go over here to ftpbus.com. That's where I keep all of my expedition related content. And I do use the little search feature on occasion here if you're wanting to find a guide on a specific champion and I haven't had a chance to put a dedicated listing together for them. You can use the search thing and find all of our YouTube stuff on the specific champion. So let's just take a peek real quick. We'll take a look for Swain. Not the Lab of Legends, but looks like we drafted around Swain at 353. I remember that one. That was a neat trial. We're using Fortune Croakers to level up our Swain. But moving on to the other choices, we need a Sejuani. So where are we at? 353. Zed was at 357, so we don't even have to search anymore. And then we got Sejuani at 341. So we're going to come over here and take this Sejuani. Let me take a peek at which one that was. It was the Suit Up version. And so this pairs up with Fiora and is meant to be kind of a go tall deck. And so a go wide deck would be something that's looking to put 5 or 6 units on the board and then get some kind of advantage out of all of them. And so, if we have a full board and then play Vision to give all of our units +1 attack, that would be a go wide strategy. A go tall strategy is where we're going to try and get kind of maximum value out of a single unit. And so the idea behind this card pool is that you're out here trying to take full advantage of Fiora. So if you take Fiora, load her up with some additional stats, give her some barriers, she's eventually going to get an OTK. But over here on the Freylord side, it's kind of more towards building up a big Sejuani, and there's not a whole lot of tools within this card pool to really do it. The only cards that live here that really give a boost to a unit would just be something like Take Heart, which we don't really like to pursue. But this does have a pretty good lead in to what we just kind of call to be Freylord Overwhelms. And so Sejuani is a great game closer. Things like Alpha Wildclaw are great game closers. And then in the early game, we have these Overwhelm units as well with the Mighty Poro Ruthless Raider. I can't quite remember the changes that were applied to the Suit Up card pool in the 212 patch. I think it did lose out on Runescarred Weaver. I don't know. Whatever the 4/5 for 5 with Overwhelm and Regenerate is, I think that one got removed. And then I'm pretty confident that the big boy, the Udyr looking fella, got removed as well. So yeah, here's the Scar Maiden Reaver, not in Suit Up anymore. I can't remember if it was there or not, but then the Spirit Walker is still here. Okay, that's the Udyr looking bro. Just doesn't live in the Suit Up card pool. But that is the way I typically look to go after these Sejuanis. The big thing to call out here is they did take away the Avarosian Riders or whatever they were called, the 4/4 or the 4 cost 3/3 that allegiance to put the plus the +3/+3 on the top unit in your deck. That used to live, I believe, in Suit Up, and it just definitely does not live here now. It was quite powerful. I think it only lives in like Frostbite Ash or Frozen Solid Ash, whatever that particular deck is called. But again, this is a pretty reasonable build around. We'll see what we can piece together with this in our next pack. But I do intend to draft towards Sejuani here. Oh gosh, come on, kitty. Hang on. This is... I can't tell. I can never tell if like her meows come across on the video. She just sits here and she's a talker. She's quite the meower, and so she gets to hang out now. That's what she was wanting to do. But all right, back to the draft. Not a super interesting set of cards here. As we typically talk about, I'm not a huge fan of taking the partner pairing as far as factions go if we're trying to build around a specific concept. It's okay here with Sejuani to go with Shyvana because the cards in Suit Up aren't really built towards building around like a single theme. This tends to be more of just a good cards kind of deck. But if the Outriders still lived in the Sejuani card pool, I would definitely recommend staying away from Freylord, or staying away from Demacia. I'm sorry, but I mean this seems like it's probably the way that we'll want to chase this down. I don't like playing Leona unless we intend to build around Leona, and then there's just like no way out from this pairing of just drafting Leona. So I'm going to let that one go. And then Kindred also does not pair well with Sejuani. Kindred really needs sacrificable units that only live in Freylord. Or I'm sorry, I keep calling everything Freylord. They only live in Shadow Isles, and so we'll have to let that one go. So Malefic Descent Shyvana is going to have to be fine. Let's get this one pulled up here as well. You need pets, don't you? You needed pets real bad. But let's see. Shyvana, Malefic Descent, and cool. And so yeah, this is meant to just be a dragon's build around. We made this Shyvana deck 2 or 3 trials ago, and the big things that you're looking to do are take advantage of the new Shadow Isles dragons, and so you can have them out here like eating dragon chows and the like. And this is just meant to be the Shadow Isles slash Demacia version of the Dragon's deck as opposed to the Demacia slash Targon version. And so these cards, we could probably get some reasonable usage out of these things. Granting champions challengers, not that big of a deal since Sejuani already has it. But the thing I kind of don't want to see here is like how bad is our early game, because the early game with the Freylord side not that good. Egghead Researchers, of course, and always a great start. But hopefully it just doesn't try and drop a whole bunch of dragons on us here. It's not something I'm really interested in pursuing. Otherwise, there's no good combat tricks. There's the removal in where to go, the Concerted Strike, but this looks like we're just going to be really delving into being a good cards deck. And then the big thing that we need to pay attention to here is that we don't come out and ruin our curve. And so I'm going to pay particular attention to trying to take the smaller units when they make themselves apparent. And that's what I feel okay with doing here. The Ruined Dragon Guard is still fine, even if we don't have any Fury units. And then single combat is a great combat trick here. Okay, and then cool enough to continue on with these Screeching Dragons. They do play onto the theme of Go Tall. We just find a handful of combat tricks and we'll be right on track with this really powerful top end. I do usually look to go for the overwhelms, but since we've come out here and started drafting dragons, that's probably not going to be a thing. And then now, as we're progressing a little bit further along, the overwhelms aren't really looking to be a thing either. We haven't seen any of the overwhelm kind of cards. And so with this one, I am just going to take the Concerted Strike Ranger's Resolve. We do tend to be able to get pretty wide boards since our units are so meaty in the early game. Like it's very common for us to like not play something on 1, maybe have a 2-drop, nothing on 3, and then we have all that mana banked up. But then, like turn 4, 5, 6, 7, we just spend all of our mana on curve and on big units, and so things like Ranger's Resolve can fit in there quite nicely. Okay, then our last chance to delve into another faction. I don't really want to be picking up these Ionia cards. Then these cards here are just kind of turdy. I don't want to be stacking up things like Vanguard Cavalry because we have no trouble picking up enough top end. So I'm just going to take the Silverwing Diver single combat. Ideally, we'll be able to trade this diver away. Okay, and then kind of like the decision I think we need to like just make at this point is, are we just going to go for dragons? This is a reasonable point to just pivot over to Shyvana, and I think that's the route we want to take with this. Like we haven't seen any Freylord cards up to this point that we actually want. We have a handful of dragons cards, and then we'll be picking up the Stalking Broodmother here, and so hopefully we'll be able to pick up something to kind of fit in there. And then, oh boy, the Howling Abyss shows up. Now, this is reasonable Freylord to be taking. I don't want anything to do with It That Stares, but the Howling Abyss, cost 1 less mana now, still incredibly powerful. There's an argument to come over here and just take Brutal Steel Alpha Wildclaw, but I think the Howling Abyss is just so incredibly powerful, we can't let it go. Okay, here we go. Now the now the suit up cards and the overwhelms are starting to make an appearance. I think I'm still kind of okay to just say, we're going to be a dragons deck. You know, if we pick up an alpha wild claw, okay. But I think with like the 3 screeching dragons, the 1 Sejuani, and a stalking broodmother, our top end is like pretty well covered at this point. Okay. So, uh, interesting set here. It's just my big worry with this is finding enough early game. I think I want to take the Grizzled Ranger's Resolve. There is a Captain Erika here that I'm moderately interested in, but we do have 2 Concerted Strikes, and then of course the Harsh Winds Alpha Wildclaw are quite good, but they aren't really on theme with anything we're doing. My big worry again at this point is just having enough curve to fill out the early game. Okay, so here, Screeching Dragon, Ruined Dragon Guard, completely fine. I'm kind of interested in Cataclysm. It plays quite well if you are able to pick up some scout units, but it's not something I feel like we have to like really go after. But oh man, maybe we do want to go after this. I didn't notice that this was Larnt Protege. I'm so used to this guy not being an expedition. I thought that this was the thing that gives Challenger to something else. So maybe that is the way to go. We have 3 Screeching Dragons already. I think I can get behind this. I think this is good. Okay. Well, here we got a Detain. It's the catch all, get anything removal spell. Extremely good. Quite happy to pick this up. Okay. Then it's like we need to like make sure that we have enough dragons to be like activating the lieutenant, but it's not like super important to be doing that. I'm kind of leaning towards just taking the lookout here as kind of our late game closer. And the last one, cool, a Trapper and a Ruthless Raider. Might as well pick up some Freylord cards while we're at it, right? Okay, so here the Unscarred Reaver is just unplayable. I'm not like really excited about having 4 Screeching Dragons. It's a little bit much, but the Unreaver is just unplayable. Okay, so let's jump on in here, turn something premium. Just got to keep up that pay-to-win lifestyle that I know how to. It's the only way I know how to do it, right? Is the pay-to-win lifestyle, and we can go ahead and get the ruined Dragon Guard. You know, nice little update. We're just never gonna never gonna get this Dragon Guard Lieutenant updated. He must feel so bad, like he's high quality card stuck amongst all of these turds. But we always find something to level up in place of him. But it's kind of wild though. I know I made a Shyvana video. Again, it was like 2 or 3 videos ago. Um, and it was like the previous Shyvana one I'd done was in like the 200s. It had been like 150 trials since I mained a Shyvana. I was like, that is bonkers. Like I had to have just like completely missed her at some point. But I mean, for the longest times, there wasn't a whole lot of decision making going into the Dragons deck. It was basically, okay, have I picked a Targon card yet? Good. Okay, so I can get the Targon cards, and then you would basically say, okay, is there a 2-drop in this pack? No. Okay. Is there a removal spell in this pack? No. Okay. Is there a card that costs less than 4 mana in this pack? Yes. Okay, I'll take that one. Like it was absurdly easy how the Shyvana decks were to put together, and I just it was fun to play. It was just ridiculously like not complex as far as any of the draft goes. I just had a hard time imagining anyone was interested in watching that. But God, got the cat thing happening here. I do worry a bit about this Ibex. Not so much against this like weirdo. Oh my God. Not so much against this like Noxus Shadow Isles deck. He's not going to have a whole lot of supports here, but this dude is kind of the real deal if you do find yourselves in the in one of the support strategies. Okay, just a completely horrible draw from our opponent. I mean, ideally, I mean, what I think this kind of probably amounts to is he's probably got some kind of just like Taric draw. And I would imagine that's who's going to come down next turn. I'm like 100% going to single combat something here. Because we have this Detain Concerted Strike in our hand. So we should be able to deal with any of his like large threats that he tries to throw at us. Need these pets, don't you? Life can be pretty hard for a kitty. You gotta sleep 22 hours a day, spend 15 minutes eating, and then probably gotta try to fill in that remaining hour and 45 minutes with pets. Okay, let's give this a go. It feels like there's like a just like a reasonable chance that this fails. Like if opponent plays +3/+3 on this thing, it's pretty abysmal for us. Um, maybe we have to assume that he's probably like a really combat centric deck, and he probably has combat tricks here. But like even a sharpened resolve was pretty bad. We probably should have just let him eat the mana. But okay, that one's okay. Oh. Huh. Okay. Well, I didn't quite expect that to be the line to see, but works out okay. Let's get the diver down. They should never be able to block this, so we can get 2 damage in instead of 1. Top-notch kitty pets in. Guess from beyond, sure. Kind of an odd thing to see when they don't have any units on the board. Maybe he has a Nightfall to play after this or something. Okay. He's more than welcome to glory seek either of these units down. Neither of them are super important to our strategy here. Just the only downside here is I do kind of want to play one of these 5-cost spells just because I don't want to pass the turn with all this mana up. So we can at least attempt to take down here. Got it. Wow. I do worry about this now. It's like he's just passing with all that mana up. He just has to have like this, like either super expensive hand or a hand just like completely full of combat tricks. But if it's like the super expensive hand, that gives me some pause since our board and cards in hand aren't super great at dealing with that. Okay. Sure. Okay. We don't have the mana to do the super cute things with the brood mother and the cataclysm. That would have to be something for next turn. Just gonna go ahead and add the brood mother now and see what happens. If he attacks with Riven, I'm just gonna take it. Not at any real risk of dying here, and I want to have Concerted Striker Detain ready if he's gonna try and put Riven out here with combat tricks. Okay. What else we got? Feels like there's gonna be more. Whirling Death. Do we just want to go for the Detain? The Detain feels a little bit safer. I think I'm okay with that. We'll put the Detain on our Silverwing Diver. It's got to be much less likely to get itself into combat. Okay, cool. Looking strong. Can make the cutesy scout play next turn if we want, or this turn now. Who's going to get back Riven? Nothing we can do about it. It's fine. We just pick up vengeance off of our dude. That's pretty choice. probably not going to get a second scout attack out of this, though. We could. It would just be trading. Our unit's probably too high value just to trade off here. Get in for 11 as it stands with these. We put down the Lieutenant and hook the Doom Beast, and then we could probably just get an open kill next turn. Oop. Should do it. So cool. Alrighty, so I'll just be pretty interested in taking whatever the Shyvana pack is now. I think we're firmly entrenched into being a Dragon's deck. And she does at least have the tools to be a high quality Dragon deck. Now it used to be you had to kind of get into Targon because there wasn't enough late game, but now the Screeching Dragon is kind of the premier unit. I think we're okay to not have Targon or Shadow Isles. So interesting though, we do have the Tusk Raider here with the Learned Bladekeeper. It's not a bad pile to be picking up. I do kind of like the idea of playing Tusk Raider in a deck with like less than 3 copies of Sejuani. And then I don't really want any more Stalking Broodmothers, and so I think this is kind of okay. There's an argument to come down here and take this Fiora, but we don't have enough barriers for that to be good. I think I do want to take the Sejuani here, and then we'll probably just take look to take a Shyvana with our 4th champion pick. I usually don't recommend doing stuff like this, but we don't have a whole lot of dragon synergies. Like it's just like basically Shyvana. There is the thing, the Dragon Guard thing that gives your Fury units a boost, but we don't have like Dragon Chows. We only have the one Challenger dude, and so I think this is reasonable. Just stop and say like, okay, we're a good cards deck with dragon synergies in it, and come in and pick up that Tusk Raider. Look for a little bit more early game. Bad. Got the Vigio dragons along with the Zillion. Interested in seeing what comes out of this deck. Still haven't got the chance to put together a Vigio video. We'll see him at some point. Blame it on Riot. It's not my fault. Like if I want to sit around and cycle drafts until I find a champion, it takes effing forever because you have to wait that 20 minutes after the start of a draft to start in on another one. Okay. For me, the Dragon Guard's pretty good at shutting down his attacks here. Then this is not worth a Ranger's Resolve. These aren't the kind of units we care about as far as saving go. Looking more to save our dragons with these things than these 2 early game bros. But we do need something to do next turn. All these cards he has are so low value, we're not going to be getting a Cataclysm or something. What else is there to say about this hand? Let's just pass and see what he does, I guess. I'm not opposed to playing a Cataclysm if we can get something, but these units are also like super low quality. Now you show up, Grizzled Ranger. Come on, dude. Come on. Surprised he didn't attack with Zillion. He's kind of like lost his appeal after after he's generated his time bombs. gonna take a second card. If he wants to do anything, or I guess he could just be looking to say, "Hey, if you want to hook with the Screeching Dragon, it's gonna die." This is good. We can definitely get a Ranger's Resolve this turn now. So, assuming this goes to plan, our bros are about to get really big. Oh, oh, much stats. Interesting. Okay, that was probably the most like superstar Rangers Resolve one could hope for. Much stats. Appreciated, Dragon Guard. Okay. You ever think this is worth a Cataclysm? Uh, Probably not. He drew the Defender off the Scribe. Could just get this stuff off the board, but I think we would rather, if it came down to like killing one of these turds and getting these stats, or if it came down to killing a Vigio, I think we'd rather just kill Vigio. Then we're reasonably far ahead. We should be able to just play Howling Abyss here. Have to, of course, see what opponent does, but that's what I'm gonna try and build ourselves up to. See any reason to do it otherwise. Not actually winning any of these combats. We're only taking 3 damage. Seems pretty good for us. He has to have something here, right? Nope. This again, we still have the Cataclysm if we need to, but okay, seems like we're just super far ahead now. Got this big boy Renekton. That's what I want to go for. I'm kind of like leaning towards in my head that we can say attack with these 3, and then just annihilate his board. Play the Grizzled Ranger post combat. Okay, so we'll save our unit. I was gonna say we could play Grizzled Ranger post combat and then do the Cataclysm Grizzled Ranger thing, but we can also just play the Ranger on his turn and pull the same trick off. Cool, seems quite good. What do we get now? Kindred. Much is this play? 7 if we want to do the scout. That would leave us with 4 mana. Probably want to hang on to Ranger's Resolve. Don't think we really need it, but yeah, we're fine. Just take him up to level 3, right? Get this Sun Disc. Everyone needs a Sun Disc. I didn't read the full thread. I just saw the article on Reddit for someone suggesting the Sun Disc should just call 0. And at least as far as Expedition goes, I think that would be pretty safe. You're already making such an investment in, uh, it's like one thing to make your deck uh, work with Allegiance. You don't have to play 100% one faction for it to be an Allegiance deck, but you do have to play 100% Shurima to have them to have the Sun Disc draw into your opening hand. It's just like such a feels bad moment that like we put all this work into getting the Sun Disc and building the Sun Disc deck, and then when it comes down to it, like every single game you'd be like, I'd rather just play Ancient Preparations on the first turn, or I'd rather play Bloodthirsty Marauder on the first turn. It's just like, why am I even playing this if that's how I feel? But anywho, apparently opponent has rage quit, so we'll just skip on playing cards and see if we can't get a cool attack in here or something. Like that's gonna do it. Gotta wait and see. I felt real bad. I can't remember if it was the last trial or two ago, and my internet kept going out, and I was roping all over the place. Oh, it's kind of a meme as far as the FTP bus community goes, and the length of the videos, and kind of having a gotcha moment when we pull off a victory in 50 minutes, or you know, it's very clearly a low win trial, but man, that aggro deck with the disconnects took us up close to 2 hours. So it was kind of wild. But okay, here, like, I'm not opposed to trading the way this Dragon Guard lookout. It's not like an effect we super need, and we don't really have a ton of dragons. But I think our spell count's probably getting a little bit too high. I think we can just pick up another Dragon card for the Ranger's Resolve. Our early game is what really matters here. Okie dokie. The next one. This is a very good cards deck. It's not the style of deck that I typically recommend drafting, but good. Lots of people have success with good cards decks. I think it's kind of one of these things to where there's always the we'll get rid of all this. It's all expensive. Always the concept of like perfect play, and there's only one correct play, and throughout any draft there should only be you know, one correct choice for each pick. But then there's always people that, you know, there's some people that prefer drafting like high synergy decks, which is what I do, and then there's other people that prefer to draft you know, just the highest power level that you can do, which isn't something I like to do. And I think it probably just amounts to one of those things to where at the end of the day, if we're all going to average, you know, 3.5 wins a trial, it's probably because I've gone like, you know, an average. I'm more likely to go like 2 wins or 5 wins, as opposed to someone else going like 3 wins to 4 wins. It's the old Elise and the Spider Friends. Not a lot we can do about this. Just not actual anything we can do here. This is kind of a pain. We may not even have a play for next turn, which would be catastrophic. Yeah, I can't imagine we do much winning this game. So we'll see. Right, we're never coming back. Let's be real. I'll give it 1 turn. If he opens on us, then we'll have to concede. But if he plays a unit, we might be able to do something with Screeching Dragon. Okay. It is what it is. You know, this is why I preach drafting a really low curve. Just never in that game whatsoever. But on to the next one. We will find our way to victory here. I'm not completely opposed to picking up the Brightsteel Protector. As you know, an early game play, we can just throw it down as the means as to having a blocker. But in the later game, it does still play reasonably well with our challengers, with all these Screeching Dragons. And so I wouldn't mind. I think I want to hang on to our 1 Ranger's Resolve, though. We're never trading out Detain and don't need more Concerted Strikes, so we can skip over this one. It's like we're right on the edge of kind of where we want our spells to be. Wouldn't mind trading away a spell for a unit, but it's like I'm more interested in trading away something like Concerted Strike, because I'd probably rather trade away like a single combat. Still keep the 2 Concerted Strikes, 1 Detain, but go from 3 single combats to 2. Wouldn't be unreasonable. Fury of the North, I'd also be content to get rid of. Okay, so yeah, we got our 3-drop unit this game. That's all we needed. We can do it now. Shyvana Kindred, this is going to be some dragons. Well, we're ready for battle. As long as they don't have that 4/3 on the on the second turn, we might be able to do something here. Kindred is ultimately pretty scary whenever you're playing these Dragon decks as well. Like the kind of way to handle a Kindred is to just go wide. So the Kindred ability is just kind of killing off your early game plays. But you know, when you're just playing a 4-drop and a 5-drop and a 6-drop and a 7-drop, if your opponent's able to get out ahead of you, it could be quite catastrophic. Here, if he has like one of those sacrifice dragons, we're probably pretty hosed. But okay, it's cool. Kind of content with just taking down the Cursed Keeper as well. Kind of the same thing as with his next turn. If he comes in here and say plays like the 4-cost dragon onto the Cursed Keeper, we're just like so far behind. Okay. That's a nice little draw. Lets us move into the next round and play a Screeching Dragon while still having single combat mana. Don't be wrong, we're falling behind here. This is certainly not a good spot to be in, but this was a quite a good pickup in the Trapper. Interesting. Still okay to make a single combat play. It says like Shyvana come in uncontested unless he has an additional card here, but this is good. This is just damage. So he's gonna have a little something here. I think there's gonna be a little treat coming down for us. Not yet. Okay. Well, let's see where this guy gets us. That's a great single combat thing for a Shyvana target here. See how this goes. Again, I think he has a combat trick here. We might have to single combat. We might have to detain or something. He's got something though. Rather protect our dragon or it's okay. Save the detain. Because I worry about dropping this detain when we need to single combat here quite soon. Okay. Jarvan. Oh, well, we probably should have single combated down this dragon if we're being real about it. I don't think we need to get like a gotcha moment on him. We should have taken down the dragon with the Yeti. This is still okay, but there's an argument not to if we want to try and get Howling Abyss down this turn. And about just passing it back. We're gonna have to just detain here. Try and play around Sharp Sight this way. If he has a +2 attack for his Brightsteel Protector, I don't want this detain to fail. the stairs. Come in and do 2 to everything? I don't think so. I don't even want to do this. Let's just add the Howling Abyss. I don't want our dragon to just have 2 health next turn. Let's just stall. Great, the longer this game goes on, if we're just sitting here with a Howling Abyss on the board, the better it's going to be going for us. We still have this hook on the board. I'm going to say I'm still content to keep passing, but we could come in and try and hook this dragon if we wanted to. Just flit Nasus. Lols. Oh, that feels good. Nice. That has to be frustrating for opponent, not gonna lie, but that was pretty sweet from my point of view. Just here's my flip Nasus. Enjoy. Let's see. I don't think we need to pick up any more of these Sejuani cards. The Tusk Raider is good enough. Molten Breath and Cadrigen. Okay. Cadrigen giving Shyvana bonuses is nice on occasion, but not bad. Not bad. Okay. How many more flip Nasus we can get? Bring in the dog to our dragon party here. Anywho, let's see what's going on. I assume this is going to be a pretty aggressive deck out of Draven Echo. So let's try to keep the early parts to the curve if we can. All right, not bad. Nice little 2, 3, 4, 5 curve here. Wouldn't expect like too many combat tricks out of our opponent, but we are probably kind of forced to trade with anything they put forth. Okay, ready. All right, and then do we want the 2/4 or do we want to put the 3/3 down and get the Yeti a little bit quicker? I think I'm okay with just going for Yeti here. And then, like, maybe next turn we just play the Dragon Lord instead of Shyvana if we want a single combat. We have all kinds of options that we can pull off here, but... Oh, beautiful. Opponents apparently, I mean, if they're aggressive as I suspected, they might have just gotten a bad draw. This is quite good. I think I'm okay with just leaving this now. Especially if we're going to plan to play like a 2/4 plus a single combat.
What do we got here?
Okay. Some people would describe that as moderately annoying. And so, what do we think of this? We can, again, like, we can come in and single combat this down at some point. I think we probably just put damage on it now and try to challenge it down next turn. Not like real convinced that that has a high probability for success, but well, that's what we're gonna work towards. Oof. Oof. What up, Yeti? I guess we should have known you were coming up. It just feels like you landed at the right time, though. Let us get all these stats on the board while still having access to single combat. Okay, where is this? He's trying to Whirling Death our Shyvana. Um, we have to single combat here. Who do we want to lose, though? Probably just this dragon dude thing. Okay, beautiful. All right, Draven, welcome to the party. Echo. This isn't. I guess this isn't super appealing in that he has the potential for a spinning axe, but I think this is okay. He's probably gonna hit us with like a brother's bond here, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I'm liking this less. We should have just played the conservator. Up and hilt, okay. It's not like that bad. He doesn't get to play the time trick. We get to add good stuff to the board next turn.
Time for the moneymakers.
Okay, he's taking down our dragon thing. That's completely fine. We just need time against this thing. What do you discard? Fragment. That makes sense. Okay. Oof. What up, single combat? Zevi. Okay. I think we have to leave Shyvana back. Don't want her just trading out with Zevi. Oh, we can't do that. He'll just boost his thing. This is fine. We're kind of stuck here. Removal spell. That's always cool. Okay.
More equipment for the field.
Sump workers. You just can't let that happen. That's fine. Losing our Shyvana is okay. We just can't have him play two of these things, and with him just adding like Zevi, there's a decent chance that that dum dum is gonna come down and ruin our day. So ideally, we'll be able to Shifting Sands out something here. Take that. It's like, oh, I mean, do we even care? Do we just let him draw a couple cards? I'm okay with this. He'll get the bonus one time next turn. Ooh, ooh, he did hit the sump worker off of Zevi.
I could use two of me.
Okay. Not bad timing for Sejuani to show up either.
Bow to no one.
Oof. Scary. I think he has to block a big portion of this, though. Do this. Do this. Sejuani. Or how does this look? He blocks Sejuani. She's gonna trample 3. Then that'll lethal. Okay. Perfect. Got him. did that bus math there, and it was it was pretty on point, right? Did that mathematics to get him right to 0. I'm starting to get pretty good at this whole arithmetic thing. Alrighty, so with these, I don't want to make any of these trades. I don't want Dragon Chows in our deck. The Silverwing Diver is a unit, whereas Redoubled Valor is not a unit, and so, I think that's a fairly easy keep. And then we don't need any more expensive units like a Verna, and so we have enough big boys up here in the late game department, so we'll hang on to our single combat as well. Okay, pre-final battle. Let's do it, Shyvana. The old predict deck. I think we should be strong against this. Doesn't seem like there are. I think we both have like bad early game, and it seems like our mid game is just stronger than anything they're doing. But we'll see. I've been wrong before. We continue to get some of these awkward draws where we just don't have anything to do in the early game, which is somewhat problematic. But we got these aggro investigators out here. He's the investigator, right? No, we got these aggro conservators out here conservating and being aggressive. Okay, well, as it stands, we're gonna have to burn some mana next turn, which kind of sucks, but maybe we'll get this dope 3/3 conservator going, and nope. I keep calling it a conservator now. I know that's not the that's not the right way to say it, but it's gonna get stuck in my head. And of course, the on-curve play shows up a turn too late. Kind of okay with still just dropping it on the board. We can take this echo damage. It's not a big deal. Do we really want to just make 3/3s? We probably ought to spend the mana, right? We're not getting Furies anytime soon. This will shut down both the Zillion and the Clockling. The best he gets out of this turn is a time trick, then that's okay. And the drop order. Oh, snap. Okay, so let's see what happens here. We have a lot of raw power this turn between the Screeching Dragon and the Cataclysm onto something. So I think this is okay-ish. I'd like to see him spend some mana before we try and go ham on these units. But I think I want to start with an attack with Screeching Dragon onto Zillion, and then just send in our other smaller units. He doesn't have any good blocks across the board, and then we can consider trying to make a Cataclysm play onto Echo after we get ourselves out of combat here. I'd kind of rather see him spend some mana if we're going to make the Cataclysm play, though. I don't really want to lose our dragon to a... well, I guess, what's it really matter? If we lose our dragon to a Mystic Shot, it's not that big of a deal. It's just going to happen on the next turn. But okay. That's fine. We can still take down the Echo if that's what we want to do. Kind of leaning towards just trying to take him down with Concerted Strike, though. The reason I kind of like flip-flopped on my thinking there was that if I don't want him getting these 0-cost time tricks into his hand.
If it looks valuable, it probably is, eh?
Okay, so we have to do this now. This should be successful. He can have ways to get out of this, like by killing off our dragon, but our little boy should be big enough to take Echo down. Interesting. I don't know what you're planning on hitting for 1 mana, but
Deja vu isn't what it used to be.
okay.
My plans!
Snap that one off. Yeah, quick attack. Sure. Okay, what's that? Oh, sunk cost. Cool. Pick up a removal spell. Okay, so the awkward thing here being, like I think we want to play 2 units, but we can't play a dragon if that's our line. So let's get Shyvana down first. We'll follow up with Protege. Try and get double hooks this turn. I think if we just like trade Shyvana, I'm not even really upset about it. What's his I'm just passing play here? Like is he going to hit us with the spirit fire? That's typically what you see out of Shurima when they do stuff like this. We still win these combats even if the spirit fire comes down. I think this is okay. Just a mystic shot? Sure.
Back in the game.
Okay. Gonna open on us.
Look at that
Yeah.
quality.
Don't want to take all this damage. But I don't want to lose all of our units either. So I think the 1 block will have to be sufficient. And then I don't think we'll ever get the plunder to double here, but the big boy is certainly going to be good, and I definitely want to be able to play Sejuani next turn. So I think reasonable pickup.
I remember
Okay. Lots of things happening over here. Second Echo is a real pain in the butt. Okay. Not super invested in the Shyvana, so start getting a spell here is not that bad. It's gonna die to Time Bomb, but worse things have happened.
you own what you pick. We own all we see.
Alright, all the predicts. Much predicting happened today. Let's get in here.
Oars down, weapons up. Call that an offer?
And if there's like a removal spell or something here, it's fine. Again, I think the longer this game goes on, the stronger that we're going to be. We tend to have a much stronger late game than them. They're going to have some like, I was going to say, they're going to have some like rando Echo card in their deck. It's not unreasonable to think they might have picked it up at this point, but that's pretty brutal to have it come down here.
Take a look at this.
Revive all your dead dudes and draw a card. It's not that bad to be picking up. There's a spell shield, sure. If they ever, I'm gonna say it's pretty challenging for them to actually have a spell at this point. Ooh, feel much better now that we picked up Prismatic Barrier. Just, like if you get to draw a card with your Echo, fine. But if we can get past his ability to take him down with this quick attack, that's quite good. I don't really approve of that kind of thing. Still out here just wanting to spell shield or wanting to sunk cost away this Echo. We don't have the ability to do it. Here's where we get ahead. Ooh. Ooh, come out here and do some dragon stuff while we're at it. Get these rallies. Okay, so everything's coming in. You down here. This can kill Shyvana, so we'll bring you down here.
You are lost, yes?
No time for this.
Guess we should have put our Shyvana all the way down on the right. She's gonna flip, isn't she? I guess we would only be dealing 8 damage with Dragon. She'd be flipping post-combat, but... Okay. We just lethal here. No, we're gonna lose our Shyvana in the process, but it also loses Echo. Okay.
Let's not go back to that timeline. Oh, and there we go.
Sup, Zil?
Okay. Or Mother's Call. Alright, well, let's bring in the Thunder while we can. He doesn't have to block with Echo now. That was quite the pickup in the Hexite Crystal, but it is what it is. Don't think we need to be hitting that with the sunk cost. We can build up to the War Mother's Call next turn.
See how you like it.
Do we even have exciting units left? Yeah, we got some exciting units in here. We got Ithid Stairs, Stalking Broodmother, Cadrigen, Screeching Dragon. We got some bad ones on the lower end of the spectrum, but it's our way to get past this this Echo to some kind of degree. Make sure we're not going to deck ourselves. I've definitely decked myself before with War Mother's Call, so glad to see that didn't happen here. Then what? We can just attack with everything, right?
Ready? Stand and fight.
Makes him put his Echo into combat. Oh, gross. Okay. Ranger's Resolve doesn't do anything here either, does it? Oh, gross, gross. We're just gonna die to this open next turn. Well, we'll have a unit to block with. Okay. Right, War Mother's Call will give us something.
I refuse.
Suit Up Sejuani. Can beat some worker, right?
Carved from the savage cold.
That doesn't do anything, right? It says the word grow on here, but I don't think that does anything. Just gives Echo. Oh, it does give Echo a point of attack. Wow, I guess that makes sense. So this will take us to 3. I get to draw a card. Maybe, maybe after all this work, we can finally get in here and close it out.
No, deja vu isn't what it used to be.
Okay, more predicts and stuff. That's the Psy Scout's enough to keep Sejuani from getting a kill, but we could just hook the Scout with our Dragon Guard Lieutenant. Oof. Oof, is it worth? Do we ever just want to hit with everything? Probably be greedy.
You'll never learn.
I guess this does let them draw an additional card. So hopefully we aren't going to get aced by a get excited here. Alright, let's see if we lose to the get excited. Probably should have just attacked with everything. We had the Fury of the North for our Sejuani, and we could have put the Psy Scout in front of our Dragon Guard Lieutenant, but oh, this thing doesn't have Challenger, does it? Gotta do this first. There we have it. I can't remember. I think that dude, he might be the one sitting on top of the 7-win leaderboard. I can't quite remember. That name's familiar, though. I think he does a lot of work in the old expedition grind, if you will. Cool. For the next one, let's see what these trades get us. And so, you know, it's still this awkward thing. I don't want to be picking up expensive cards, and these are all like cheaps for expensives. And so, you know, we might be able to find an upgrade somewhere at some point, but this just isn't what I'm looking for. So I'm going to skip over this one as well. Okay, pre-final battle. Off we go. See if we can't make it the whole way. Ooh, that was a close one. That was a lot of predicting and a lot of big things going on. Yeah, I think we could have probably gotten there with that if we just opened with Sejuani. Well, I mean, it's tough to beat the Fury of the North there, so we did kind of risk losing to Burn, but close. Ooh, this is scary. This is especially scary against a Zed deck. This is likely the Ephemerals kind of deck with the Zeds and getting bonuses with your Shark Chariots from the Zed Living Shadow attacking. For the most part with the Zed, you're kind of guaranteed like 2 or 3 wins throughout the trial just because you play against hands like this, and he just comes in and blasts face right from the beginning. But anywho, like our opponents digging their phone out of the toilet. Might be TP, might be booze in there. You know, you're at work, you're making your way to the bathroom, and you accidentally drop your phone in the toilet. Say, oh shit, we're playing against FTP Bust, and then you drop your phone in the shit. It's been known to happen. It's a thing, I assure you. Okay, this is frightening. The amount of aggression that's coming on us early, and the amount of ways we have to handle it, which are currently 0 ways. Oh shit! Yeah, we got that pesky Spectre right off the bat. Couldn't have asked for a better play. We were just out here hoping for something that we could put on the board, and our deck certainly delivered. All right, well it's a blocker for Zed. Oh, this game is done. Okay. What a joke. That's about right. We'll go ahead and give up on this one. We're not going to get there with playing a 4 mana 3/3. Okay, and that's again why I always say keep that curve low. That was not an ideal game. But here, I'm happy enough to trade away Ithit Stairs. Riposte is not a high quality combat trick, but it's like we're very, very rarely ever going to want to play Ithit Stairs. I'd rather hang on to the Trappers and the Dragons, and then Battle Fury's fairly meh here. I like Battle Fury if we're in like the Go Tall Sejuani deck where we have a ton of overwhelms. And so you'll be making these attacks at the end of the game, and your opponent lines up their perfect blocks to stay at 2 life, and then you just blast them with the Battle Fury. But it's not something that's so good here, where we're basically just like fighting for control of the board with our Challenger Dragons, and then eventually just being like, oh yeah, we have enough to just win the game here because we have 5 dragons on the board, tier 1 unit. Okay, what was this? Shyvana Zed? Weird combo, but sure. Getting in there. That's how you aggro them. Get those Sejuani level ups. Okay, we're coming out the gates in this one. As much as our deck can come out the gates, we're doing it. Oh, how do we proceed now? I was intending on just playing the Grizzled Ranger, but now that we've picked up the Yeti, I think I'm happier to do that. What? He's gonna play like post-combat Zed? Okay. Much do we care? It's probably not worth the Ranger's Resolve. I have to imagine we'll get a 2-for-1 at some point with this. I was kind of like envisioning in my head this turn before we picked up the Yeti of just playing the Ranger and then expecting to be able to Ranger's Resolve this thing, but that didn't quite play itself out. We got this Riposte ready to go and take down this Radiant, so maybe we'll get some... Yeah, maybe we just won't attack. That's how you want to be. We'll play. We'll play for the long game. It's like the thing you're kind of trying to line up here is you can riposte this Grizzled Ranger and get 2 attacks with the big boy here, but I think this game is in no danger of ending anytime soon, and we're in a pretty good spot to just try and slam down some of these champions here. Tahm Kench, not incredibly strong, but I mean this is a removal spell every turn of the game. We don't have any way to heal him, but being already flipped, he doesn't sit around and have those units hanging out. What do we think of this one, though? We can riposte our Grizzled Ranger and then Cataclysm it. Perhaps take down this Shyvana. Not opposed to that. Tahm Kench is probably just big enough, though. We just need time. We don't need to be making the clever plays like that. We don't have a super good attack after we would be doing the thing anyways. Here. Probably, we're gonna riposte. We should probably just put our biggest unit in front of this thing. but yeah, now we're just ready to come down here and start eating some units. Not opposed to that. Oh well, that was the that was the plan. That's not the plan anymore. Okay. All right. Well, what's the next best level 2 champion we can get here? Give us a good one, game. Kindred? Classify that as a good one.
They retreat.
I mean, if like nothing else happens this turn, but say like a single combat of the Yeti onto the Researcher, to then just take down his weakest unit looks pretty strong here, right? This is what I was talking about earlier, to where Kindred can be quite strong against these dragon stacks. Let's see if we can't get ourselves out of this. Nice.
It knows.
That was successful. I have to assume this would be successful, right? Okay. You ever want to make the scout attack? Probably not. Again, there's no need to be like super aggressive here. I don't think he's gonna have a tough time beating Kindred. He's gonna have a tough time beating whatever comes out of the Howling Abyss. So having the double blocker is probably pretty decent. Ooh, we can double up Voices of the Old Ones. Said no one ever got excited about that. Karma is one of the weaker champions that we could be picking up here, but
Where there is life, there is
give everybody double tough. I don't think double tough is actually a thing, but the option is there. We should be able to like single combat something though, right? The first time you slay a unit, give me 2/2. He's wanting to interact with Kindred. He needs Kindred to be over on the left. Right, because we're definitely getting a slay. And Kindred's going to get the boost.
Once a little spirit traveled long
This isn't even that bad, right? At the end of the day, we just have Kindred and he has Shyvana. He doesn't have the mana for a Shyvana single combat, but that's good. This is probably the best Ranger's Resolve we're going to get, though. You get double tough? I didn't think double tough was a thing, but we keep our Shyvana this way. Okay. What we got now? Swing? You deal non-combat damage to the enemy nexus. We don't have any way to do that. This seems pretty decent, though. Being able to get the big attack in with this thing and having a double Fury of the North for it. Let's see what he does. I was gonna say we could probably realistically just kill him this turn with a double Fury of the North. So maybe it wasn't quite worth just throwing that down. Okay, not bad though. Not bad. Getting ourselves to this final battle. So don't want to trade out Detain. Don't want to trade away our cheap unit. Don't want Standalone. We'll skip over this one. Don't want more Screeching Dragons. We can skip that. I'm kind of okay with getting rid of Concerted Strike. We have 2. to go along with our detain and 3 single combats. Just these early game plays are where we're really hurting, and so Protege is a top-notch pickup there. Don't think I want to trade away our second one, though. I think I want to hang on to all of these. I like the one Ranger's Resolve. If I could trade Ranger's Resolve for Sharp Sight, I would do it, but I don't think I want to be picking up these additional... And I think this is probably okay to skip. That's a close one, though. Quite interesting at 3 Sisters, but I don't think we want any of these either. The Conservator is a reasonable target to like trade away, but I don't want to be adding 6 drops to our deck. Don't need more Molten Breaths than 1, and then don't want 3 Sisters, so we can skip that. And our last one, not trading out the Trapper, not trading out Cataclysm, and then don't need Strafing Strikes. We have 3 single combats, so I think we're ready. I think we're good to go. Here we go. Final list of battles. It's the last one for the week. Can't remember. I can't remember what day the chest actually comes out. Might be getting the fresh looks at him next week. This video comes out on a Wednesday. I don't think the chest comes out till Thursdays. I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, looks like we're playing against a little bit of blood on the ice. This should probably be a Yeti's deck. Might be kind of problematic for us, but we'll see. It's odd seeing multiple copies of Darius, but let's start it out, see what happens. You can see old Lego Indiana Jones. And the Yetis start. Yep. Okay. Nothing we can do on 2. Kind of like to be able to take the Yearling down, just in the event they have a Tall Tales, but it's not the way our hand is built here. Guess they don't have it.
Who does not know the name Laurent?
Ruthless Raider's safe. Let's just spend all of our mana. As I was kind of like thinking, is like, well, if we just hook whatever they play and then play the Ruthless Raider, then we can perhaps get in for some damage. But this is fine. We'll see if he blocks with Ash. This just kind of represents, hey, I can kill your Ash with 2 damage now. This is probably not worth taking a point of damage over onto the Ash when we're sitting down here with 2 attack challengers. But we'll see what opponent has in mind here. Got a lot of power in hand. We just need some time with this one. Okay. I mean, I'll take the bait. Whatever's happening's happening here. They're going to play like a Flash Freeze or something. I just don't care. Ash's Flash Freeze. So he's got 2 Darius, 2 Ash. Okay.
This land is ours. Bring me the calm of an ice-shrouded world.
Let's just throw in on the Shaman. We still have the answer to Ash. We can try and pick on her a bit later, but it seems like we're starting to get pretty far ahead on this board once we drop Sejuani here. So we essentially get like a free hook onto Ash, since he has to flash freeze whatever we play, and then that unit's not going to die. And then we still have these other probable good attacks from the Sejuani and crew. Well, that shuts down some of the probable good attacking, but not a bad shutdown onto Ash. So our hope here would be that we can just start to play the Howling Abyss. Like a single hit from Alpha Wildclaw is manageable. I want to see what all he plays here. We could also look to make a Spirit Fire play this turn. Don't have a lot of strength in that. Could also look to do a Prismatic Barrier single combat play onto Alpha Wildclaw, but we get like 3 for 1 if that's what we're going to do. Okay, I think this is fine. See what happens. Taking a 6 hit from the Wildclaw and putting 3 damage on it's not that bad.
We are forged in war.
Don't have dragons. Not really amped about playing the lookout. Yeah, we'll just have to Spirit Fire this turn.
Run while you can.
Technically put Sejuani in front of this thing and not take any damage. I think I'm on board with this. I like it. Still out here doing her thing. Yep. Get some overwhelm damage in and get the Tusk Raider hit in. Oh, this is gonna be dope. This is gonna be dope. Are we gonna get the plunder? That's what this is all about. Doesn't seem like he has a brittle steel. He didn't just slam it. We could have taken like the safer route and like got the protege in, but that seems well, that might have been safe. I didn't it didn't feel good if his play for the turn was to just ace our protege and us get in for 5 damage. So I think this. I mean, it looks like we're just out here offering up a trade. Appears as though they do not have a frostbite. Right? Why wouldn't they just be? This is like the most delicious place you could be putting a frostbite down, and so not quite sure what their deal is. What's your deal, Lego Indiana Jones? What is your deal? Drop the phone in the toilet. Not like this. Don't disconnect on us, Lego Indiana Jones. Ugh. Maybe they're just thinking real hard. Ah, not cool. Okay, they're still here. Look at them stats. Look at them stats. We need this other Sejuani to go away if we want the big stat one. But all right, we're ready for battle now.
Winter is the Freljord's true
Okay.
ruler. Sends chills up my spine.
So we have to do something with spells this turn. Like the Fury of the North seems like immediately what we want to be doing. I mean, what do we think about like Fury of the North, Prismatic Barrier, and single combat? We get Forfeitude, uh, right? Because we'll lose our Sejuani at the end of the day. I don't think I like that. This seems like a much more practical approach to the turn.
Fight like the animal you are.
And then if we need to, we could still single combat something. Let's be real. This is much more practical than than being like, okay, let's kill off our Sejuani in the most fascinating way possible. What do we think about this single combat though? I think I'm on board with this. Yes, look at all these stats.
This'll take the chill off.
Okay. No takedown on the Tusk Raider. That's a scary spot to be dropping a Nox Crya Arena. We got a real chance of just like acing a ton of this dude's units. Okay, and this has the potential to be really strong as well. We can get a dang it. I was like, we can get a Sejuani blast in for a ton of damage and then follow up with the Cataclysm. But not now, I guess. Dude's out here not trying to have fun. Double not having fun. How scary is this? If he wants to prevent this damage, then he has to block. Okay. There shouldn't be any combat tricks that punish this hook with the Sejuani. And he's just gonna tap her for 3 damage with the arena. Okay. Just win this turn now. Is that how this can go? We get this big Cataclysm blast in for 5 damage, and then we Dragon Guard Lookout.
We won't be caught unaware.
That should do it. Did the mathematics.
I spotted something.
Cool. GG. Yeah, not a bad little trial. Again, it's not the kind of deck that I really prefer. I really would rather be in dragons, and so it was like I'd want to be in a Shyvana deck with either Shadow Isles or with Targon, or I'd rather be in the likes of some kind of Sejuani build around. But it's so hard to do the Sejuani build around since they took all those Avarosian Outriders out of the game. Like, I'm pretty confident that I put some kind of like deck thing together for the Sejuani. I think it might. I haven't got all the way to putting Sejuani on the tier list thing, but I have Ash on here. I think there is this nice little picture if you know where to look. Like, it's not an Ash build around. Maybe I didn't piece one together. Maybe it was in the Anivia one. Would it have been here? That doesn't sound right. I thought I'd put together a sort of deck guide for this kind of thing. We got Yetis and we got Elnix. No. Okay, but anyways, the way we used to, really look to build towards Sejuani was with the Avarosian Outriders and all the Overwhelms. And so you have this curve of, Ruthless Raider at 2, you have the Poro at 3, at 4 there's Wolf Rider, at 5 there is the 4/5 Regenerate Overwhelm, there's also the Plunder flip thing, and then at 6 you have the Alpha Wildclaw. And so you have, reasonably strong Overwhelm units all throughout the curve, and you're able to piece together this really strong deck to where, even if you're just getting trades with your opponent, if you have more attack than they have health, you're chunking in a little bit of damage. And then it was fairly easy to get together these turns to where you're attacking for like 18 power of Overwhelm into your opponent's like 6 health, and you just close out the game that way. And the Avarosian Outriders were like the real core to that kind of deck, and those are gone now. Again, I can't remember where all they live as far as the changes in the 112 card pool go. I think they're in 1. I think they're just in Frozen Solid Ash. They might be somewhere else, but they did get removed quite a bit from Expedition, and it's probably healthy, right? These decks that had like 3 and 4 Outriders tended to be ridiculous, in my opinion, because they tended to also be kind of like linked up with Yetis. And so the Yeti's abilities were quite strong, and so when you were out here getting 8/8 Overwhelms for 1 mana, it was kind of degenerate. And so I'm not opposed to that happening, but Suit Up is one of these card pools where I don't feel like there's a really enough like cohesive theme for this to be considered a deck archetype. And so what ends up happening, I think, is what we did here, where you just end up in a good cards deck. And so when it comes to good cards decks, I mean, you're just looking at, if we were drafting like Magic and you said, hey, FTP Bust, how do you put together a good Magic draft deck? It's like, well, you're going to play like 17 lands. You're going to play every reasonable removal spell you can find that costs like less than 3 mana. If it costs like 5 or more, you're going to play 1 or 2. You're going to play like 3 combat tricks, and then you're going to have a mana curved where you have like 1/5, 1/6, 1/7, and then everything else costs 1, 2, or 3. There's your Magic draft deck. And like I feel like that's what you just kind of end up with when these good cards decks come together. It's like we don't have any real strategies here. We have some dragon stuff. We have Dragon Guard Lieutenant, a couple Shyvanas, and a couple Challenger Dragons, and the Lookout, but this isn't like anything that I would consider to be a dragon theme. In the suit up kind of side of things, we have a little bit of the themes. We have the Sejuanis, the Laurent Blade Keeper, some Fury of the North to get some big overwhelms, but we don't have the all of like the go tall cards. It's just kind of like, okay, well, we have a good curve, we have some like really powerful champions, we have whatever the Howling Abyss is, the Howling Abyss Tusk Raider, or just like super premium top end. And it's just like, well, we're putting the synergies off to the side to just go for card quality. And then again, it's not something I really like to do, but I think it really kind of fits the bill as kind of how I just described that Magic deck. Is when you're gonna look for these, it's just gonna be like, well, you kind of want like 3 removal spells if they're expensive. You kind of want like 2 or 3 removal spells that are cheap. You want a combat trick or 2. You probably want them to be the cheaper ones like Ranger's Resolve as opposed to the expensive ones like Riposte. And then, once you've got a handful of expensive dudes, just make sure everything is really cheap. And, just kind of at the end of the day, as long as your curve isn't abysmal, then you have kind of a passable, serviceable, okay-ish deck that's capable of taking you to 7 wins. And that's how I kind of feel about good cards decks in general, and this deck. And so, like, as far as like a recap goes, it's like, do I have any way to say like, hey, follow this strategy and do these things and piece this deck together? I mean, not really. I don't have like specific numbers to give you on the number of removal spells and stuff to look for, but that's just kind of like what we've ended up with here. And so I guess like to a degree, if you know that like you're out here drafting Sejuani, you're going to be in a good card stack. If you're out here drafting like Darius, you're probably just going to be in a good card stack. Most of those just tend to be overwhelmed decks, but there are a handful of champions that just don't have enough build around for them to be, some kind of strategy. It's not like we're out here drafting Draven and saying, okay, well, Draven generates spinning axes. I want cards that I can discard to spinning axe for some kind of value, right? You find a way to kind of say like, okay, this is what my strategy is, or if you're out here, even with something say like Echo or Zillion, you're just kind of able to say, oh, okay, I should draft all the cards that say predict on them, right? There's more to it than that, but that's a pretty good starting point for the strategy. And then, as far as a deck like this goes, it's just like take the highest quality card out of every pack that doesn't abuse your curve. I guess that's kind of your strategy for the day. So I don't know. Kind of is what it is. I wish I had a better recap for you, but I think that's all I got in me. The thing I always preach is to pay close attention to your curve and try to keep things low, and it really applies here. I am glad that like these 2 games that we lost, we just got completely annihilated because our curve was abysmal, and so it makes me feel a little bit better in that sense that the advice I'm spewing isn't horrible. But that's that. Looks like we got a handful of rewards to click on, so let's see what that gets us. Who is this? You know who that is? Who is that? Tell me, game. Who was that Sentinel? I guess. Huh. It kind of looked like Senna, but I didn't think Senna had white hair. But all right, what's the next one? The Sentinel Gloomtooth looks like some kind of shark thing. Never use it. As you can tell, that's not a cat. That's the way we do things around here. Welcome to the squad, Thrumming Swarm. I don't know if you're constructed worthy, but you're quite good in Expedition. Okay, the premium actions. Nice. I'm glad we didn't go out and buy it. I do tend to turn a champion premium whenever a set comes out. I'm glad we didn't just collect like it is abysmal, right? The amount of dust you get for overwriting premiums. I think we overwrote like an Azir or a Zed or something, and I think it was Zed, and you got like 600 dust, something like completely degrading as far as how expensive it is to turn a champion premium into what we got out of the dust. But I guess that's part of what happens when you're living the pay-to-win lifestyle. And as far as these, let's take the Jawfish, right? The lurkers tend to be a little bit more common than Ren, so that's a welcome addition to any lurker-based deck. Oh, we're getting into the ruined stuff. Get this Vigio out of here. We went Sentinels. So what's even left in these? Random rewards, no cats. Ruined King, and then the Senna here at the end. Not bad, I guess. Get some more chests and stuff. Easy peasy, let's take the unit. It's selfish to not take the unit, right? You gotta let your opponent come out here and enjoy the cards while they're on the board. Oh, no units here, so we'll take the fast spell. We'll take Get Excited. Premium card to turn premium. Feels pretty good to pick that one up. So, I do believe that is going to do it for us today. I hope you all learned how to draft the good cards a little bit better. Maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.